you feel the key differences were between the teams?
Skinny enough ones. I thought they were incredibly physical. I thought they persisted with a pretty effective tactic of cross kicking and having Israel Folau going after them. You know, he didn't get them all, but he got a few that allowed them to get in behind us, and then we were scrambling a little bit. We slipped off a few tackles. One early on Curly Beale, where I thought Jacob Stockdale made an unbelievable tackle in the corner on Corabetti. They probably got a bit of, they worked pretty hard at the scrum and got it to turn pretty well. I felt our line out got some really good pressure on them. That was probably a positive for us. And even we got behind them a few times and overkicked probably the ball a couple of times. Once from Connor when it went touch and goal, and another one from Jacob Stockdale that came off the side of his foot and went straight to touch. I think we just probably didn't quite hold on to the ball as well as we would have liked. There was a lot of pressure at the ruck as well. Pocock obviously put a lot of pressure on, and he always makes a big difference to a team. Apart from that, as I say, I don't think there was too much between the teams. I think if they'd maybe asked the other question was CJ, I looked like he might have got it down, but at the same time, they got one pulled back as well when it was pretty clear player taken out off the ball. So we'll just have to dust ourselves off, and it's nothing that we didn't expect. They're an unbelievably athletic and talented team. So the last time they played here, as I said during the week, they beat the All Blacks. That's the level, and we've got to be able to compete at that level and get the margins to fall our way. Albeit they were pretty skinny today. With 14 minutes left, I think we led 9-8. But you got to lead after 80 minutes.
Peter, they spoke when they came in here ahead of you consistently about matching your work rate. That was their big target going out today, was whatever they had to do, the bottom line was to match your work rate. Given they're in an earlier stage of their season, you'd imagine their work rate is going to be at the same level, if not higher, by the time you get to Melbourne. So what kind of pressure does that put on you fellas to come up with something different in order to get ahead?
Yeah, look, we'll look at it and we'll be the ones putting pressure on ourselves to get ahead of where we need to be. A week down the line is a long time for a test match, and there's a lot of areas that we have to work on. So we'll go and have a look at it. But as you said, we need to get ahead of where we are at, and I suppose where they are at the moment as well.
Straight after the game, roughly 60% territory, 60% possession in the second half. So when you came off the field after that, having those advantages, where did you feel that it slipped away?
Look, I think Joe's touched on all of them. I think the one that stood out for me is the times we had pressure put on them. And we just had that release valve of a turnover or a missed breakdown and a turnover in the ruck, and you see how dangerous they are on break ball and how they can strike wide off turnover ball, and it's difficult then when you're chasing like that.
Joey Harvey, pretty big opportunity. How did you feel he went?
Yeah, I thought he was pretty solid, really. He came off the field at 9-8. That's not a bad. It's not a bad return for a young man who's really starting his first big Tier 1 Test match. And he put a lot of work into his preparation during the week. He would be disappointed with the goal kick that he didn't get, because it was a reasonably comfortable angle for him, and that could have just given us a little bit more of a comfort zone and applied a little bit more pressure to the Wallabies. But I thought his tackle quality was good, and his distribution was generally good. Put a few guys into a little bit of space. Missed a couple of passes, just that pressure of time and certainly they were giving us as little as possible. They were, all over us at times, and it did make it very hard to be able to string too much together. Having said that, there were some really good line breaks. Obviously, CJ's one, a couple on the edge with Keith Earls getting down the right wing. Rob Herring gets through and tries to offload to Robbie Henshaw. I think Robbie might have even got into a bit more space, but lost control of the ball. Twice we knocked the ball on at the ruck. There was some real frustration with the hand on the ball, but we've got to solve that. We've got to make sure that we're rock solid with that sort of thing.
How would you compare that game in terms of intensity and style to the Six Nations?
That first half was one of the quickest I've played in my career. Every time we come up against Australia, the intensity and the physicality is second to none. There wasn't a lot of people talking about the Australian physicality before the game, but that you saw how physical they were in the first 10-15 minutes, and they carried through the game. Certainly the intensity and the physicality is, it's always up there with a team with the quality that the Wallabies have.
Any issues with Keith Earls? I know it off with his head. What's the story there?
Look, he's massively frustrated. He feels fine, but those are the guidelines, and we've got to adhere to them. And we'll see on Monday whether it's a concussion or whether it's just precautionary.
Anybody else?
I don't think so. Again, there's a fair few tired bodies and a few battered bodies, and a few sad kind of guys like, I guess, James Ryan. It's the first time he's lost a professional game. That was a hell of a run he went on, but that's the nature of it. You can't win these big test matches all the time because the quality of the opposition is such that it's just not possible to do.
How happy were you about his performance?
Yeah, he's got a massive engine. I thought his first half, the amount of times he carried the ball or tackled, I thought his two-man tackle in the middle of the pitch where he gets up and he takes the ball and takes it forward. He's a 21-year-old man who's growing up fast and getting better. I think that he'll be disappointed with a couple of things. He slipped off a couple of tackles, which is unlike him, and again, that's the nature of some of the footwork that the Wallaby players have.
Basketball for the chance to try a couple of things. Does this change any plans?
I don't think we can afford to change some of the plans that we've got, because we now have 11 test matches before the lead into the World Cup, and as much as I'm incredibly frustrated about the 4-year cycle that everyone talks about, we've had a pretty good run since the last World Cup. We've kept 33 players, we've probably kept the guys that we're interested in, but we now need to give them opportunity, because we can't be caught with guys who don't have that experience, and they haven't been in that really white hot atmosphere that playing a big team. That whole furnace that occurred tonight, with that time and space taken away, how physical it was. Joey went down at one stage because he got smashed in a good tackle, but the skill of the young man, he still got the ball away, and we actually made a bit of progress on the back of it. So those sorts of things, I do think they're things that we will persist with, because we don't have too many windows to do otherwise.
Peter, due to this, as you get to play again next week, you get to play with the series, is there still a good sense of belief that the things that went wrong tonight will be turned around, and that you can still get something fresh over?
Yeah, of course there is. Look, as I said already, we'll have a look, and there'll be a lot of things for us to work on, but it's not all just thrown out the window. You know what I mean? We stick to our process and our plan, and as I said, we'll be hugely disappointed, but it's the beauty of the tour, I suppose, the 3-test tour, that you get to get back on the horse, you know, whoever's selected, and get another shot and get a chance to put it right.
Okay, thanks guys.